have some.
Hopefully you're watching this at the tail end of your Thanksgiving, listening as your family has left. You finally are settling down, watching the movies and shows that you want to watch. Not dealing with family. I don't know. I don't have family here, so I imagine people with their families might seem stressed out. That's a thing, right, Ab?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, even though the three of us are kind of each other's family, I think we all know that it can get stressful and hectic. So, love to everybody out there who has been through a Thanksgiving today, and also let's have some fun.
Okay.
Let's have the best episode ever.
All right. That's pressure. Let's do it.
I think we can do it.
Let's,
I'm relaxed. I had a good morning already. I watched the parade.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to make some food after this. So yeah, I'm in a good space.
Jacob, what's up, man?
Hey, doing good. Watched Critters today, so.
Oh, cool. So you're good.
All set up.
Yeah, I'm
cool.
good to go. Yeah.
Cool.
You know, it was weird. We were watching the Macy's parade this morning, and it's like, I'm watching it, and it's like, oh, the Ninja Turtles. Oh, cool. Back to the Future. Sesame Street. Ronald McDonald. I'm like, it's all this. We're stuck.
Right. Yeah.
It wasn't even that it was just the Ninja Turtles, because they had the Mutant Mayhem Turtles, but they had Belle Biv DeVoe. Is that how you say that? Belle Biv DeVoe performing Poison, their song from like 1988. And I'm like, we are not going to be able to progress with nostalgia. And
we're not, because I'm sitting there like, oh, those are the specific turtles that I met when I was in New York.
They were it was the Comic-Con Turtles.
Yeah,
it was
the same ones.
The same ones, huh?
Same exact. I was gonna like post a picture, be like, I know these guys, and then I realized what that would look like on the internet, so I didn't.
I know these.
Hey, I'm friends with these celebrities.
I know these guys. Well, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Welcome to Yes Have Some Podcast. We appreciate everybody being here. A lot to be thankful for this year. I was kind of, Jake, I was kind of in my brain space today, thinking about all the things I was thankful for, thinking about the year we've had, the things we've got coming up. We haven't even been able to do like proper traditional Yes Have Some in a couple weeks, because we got the Frozen Empire trailer. It's just been chaotic, but it's all good stuff, but it's exciting. Are you feeling the same way?
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about, and there's been a lot to talk about. And even though we podcast like 3 times a week, yeah, it feels like that. It just feels like we're
podcasting on holidays.
We're constant. I mean, we're going to talk about Horror Nights a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
Tonight. And that was like, it's almost December and we're just now talking about Horror Nights.
I know. I think the Frozen Empire trailer kind of caught me by surprise. It was earlier. Like, I kind of pride myself.
Well, it wasn't in the forecast.
It wasn't.
That it was going to get that cold.
That wasn't going to have a death chill. But I think it hit about 3-4 weeks earlier than I was expecting. So it kind of threw everything into chaos. But we're here. I've got you ever drink one of these nitro cold brews?
No. It's good.
I'm excited.
Yeah, these are good. This is going to get me pumped up.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. It's going to get my heart rate going. Actually,
I'm surprised to see you drinking coffee or anything that's not. Have I ever seen you drink a coffee before?
Listen, I want to make an announcement right now. This is the first time in my life I've ever drank anything that's not a Coke Zero
on the podcast.
No,
You've had one of those nitros before. I remember you get really hyper.
My mom gave me Diet Coke my whole life. The doctor recommended breastfeeding, and then she said, nope, Diet Coke. And
you went straight to the fountain.
I went to the Coke
factory.
factory.
Grips onto it.
I was born in a Coke factory. I was. No, man, I'm excited about tonight. So let's recap. We were all just together for Abby's birthday weekend, which was a lot of fun. Happy birthday, Abby.
Thank you.
Sorry
if I overshadowed you, Jacob.
No. This is YHS. Jacob's birth. That's a toy anxiety.
Guys, it was a joke. I was being sarcastic.
I'm like, I
enjoyed it. Yeah.
We had a fun weekend. We saw Thanksgiving, the new Eli Roth movie. We're going to talk about that a little bit. And one thing I wanted to bring up, Jacob, I think it was your first time watching it. We watched Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
Yeah.
I've been dying. We watched it. You seem to enjoy it, but I've since that's been a staple for us for the last couple of years, I really wanted to get your thoughts on it because you had never seen it before.
Yeah, I did like it. Never seen it before. I had, seen some of the characters, but just wasn't familiar. Didn't know what it was. But I thought it was funny. And like I said, I think I mentioned this on Toy Anxiety. I like how passive aggressive everybody is in it to each other. It's very funny. I like the fact that the bad guys win the talent show for like seemingly no reason. I don't know. It's not because they're better than everybody else.
Did they not rock you?
I mean, they did, but it seemed like nobody liked it, but they still had them win.
But they're afraid they're going to get beat up by the band.
I don't know. I'm a little confused, but I thought it was good. It was fun. The songs were nice and sweet, and yeah, it was good. It's good to see like a classic like Muppet thing that I hadn't seen. Feels good.
I was happy to watch you smile while we were all watching that.
Yeah, I didn't even watch it. I just looked at your face the whole time to see if you were smiling.
Stop it.
That's a weird thing to say. No, but what's the
not the whole time.
What's
during good songs?
What's the bad guy's name? The band?
Chuck.
No, the whole band.
The Nightmare.
Yeah,
the Nightmare Band.
They're just called the Nightmare, aren't they?
The Nightmare.
Yeah, but the River Bottom Nightmare Band is what.
Yeah,
that's like their full name. Their talent's undeniable. So even if people didn't enjoy it,
sure,
you got to win the talent show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like the snake a lot. He's cool.
I like the fish in the tank.
We've talked about it a lot. Classic Jim Henson Muppets, and just the voice acting. There's a little bit of even though it's like for kids, there's some adult themes throughout it. Mm-hmm. It's just great.
It's with a wider audience in mind, and it's very inclusive, and I love it. And it's got the best music. And like you're saying, Jacob, the neighbors are all kind of like cranky and mean, and everybody's poor, which I can relate to. And yeah, it's a sweet story. And then it ends at a restaurant with like them all playing.
They all get together. A job.
I love that part. Yes.
The happy ending is they all get to work at a restaurant for like minimum wage.
I'm like, good for them. And like, that's the sweet happy ending for all. So yeah, that is one of the reasons I like it.
Yeah, it's good shit. So that was a lot of fun. Happy birthday, Abby. We went to Retro Toy Con. You can hear a little bit about that in our episode of Toy Anxiety from this week. And so let's get cracking here. So we saw Thanksgiving, which is the Eli Roth movie based on his trailer from Grindhouse that I remember seeing Grindhouse in theaters whenever it was 15 years ago, and I thought the fake trailers were amazing. And the thing, me and my friend, like the Thanksgiving trailer, it was always part of like our dialect. I always loved that fake trailer, and but I'm not that big on Eli Roth. Like I haven't like gravitated to his movies. I know he was kind of an up and coming hot horror director at one time, did the Hostel movies, or I don't even know if he did the second one. I know he did the first one. And obviously he's great in Inglourious Bastards. And he's part of our universe because I know he's good friends with Jason Reitman. They did a whole podcast together talking about Afterlife a couple years ago. But all that to be said, Thanksgiving is out. Reviews are good. It's making some money. Jacob, you're our horror aficionado here, so I want to kind of start with you. What was your anticipation of this movie?
I thought it looked fun, and it was fun. I liked Grindhouse. I like all the fake trailers. I think it's cool that it's been like 16 years, and they're, at this point, I think 2 or 3 of those trailers are full length movies now.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And Thanksgiving is the one that always seemed really silly and like it would be fun to watch. And I'm excited. Like any kind of holiday horror movies are fun anyway. There's not a ton of Thanksgiving horror movies out there. There's a couple, but like there's just not a ton. So it's nice to have something new to watch, to maybe put like in a rotation. And it was also just the movie itself was just it was just like a classic slasher film. It's got some fun. It was funny. We were all laughing.
We were laughing.
At it.
Yeah.
It's got some gross stuff in it, which I like. I did feel for an Eli Roth film, and based on the trailer, it's not as brutal as his other movies. And it is not as brutal as the fake trailer was.
Right.
It's toned down, which is a little bit of a bummer.
You're saying it could be more brutal.
Well, it's definitely toned down. There, like even some of the stuff that is in the short, the trailer that is also in the movie is done differently. The filming is less gritty looking. It is a little more polished and a little more mainstream.
Sure.
Than I would have expected from an Eli Roth movie, or what I would have expected watching the fake trailer.
Right, because the original trailer is definitely supposed to kind of fit into like Grindhouse B or C movie style.
Yeah.
This movie is polished. It looks great. It's well acted. Like it does feel like a mainstream movie. But I really liked it. Abigail, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I didn't feel at all like it was holding back because I don't think I watched the trailer before going into it. I kind of wanted to just take it in, and I was very taken aback and surprised. It was like a disgusting, grisly little morsel. It was tasty, and there were moments of like absolute gross out that I really enjoyed. Like Jacob was saying, some of the gross stuff that like, stomach churning stuff. We had dinner reservations after this movie, which I found to be funny. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it. For me, the level of like gratuity and gross stuff was like balanced out by the fact that it's kind of campy and it is funny. And for those reasons, it is nice to have this as a Thanksgiving Day movie to return to. It's
like I don't want to do like plot point breakdown. We'll get into some spoiler territory as we talk about it, but it's so over the top that it's like you almost can't help but laugh at everything. Like even so, kind of the plot is about like this Black Friday gone wrong and the aftermath, and seeing like the riot out of the whatever it's called, Right Mart. It's supposed to be like a Walmart, and like people are like dying, like it's just in really gross, like over the top, grisly ways. I was smiling the whole time. Like I thought, to me, as somebody who like, I'm not a diehard horror fan or diehard slasher fan, but it was a good throwback to like an original, like when Scream came out in 96, and then it was like, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and then like Final Destination, Urban Legend. It was kind of like the diminishing returns
of a slasher.
Yeah, it felt like, oh, this is kind of like, this could be a series. And what I really liked about it, because I don't think I was fully expecting, it is a, oh my God, who's the killer type of movie, which to me is
why we're saying Scream, like
right.
Yeah,
it's really fun when it's like you don't know who the killer is, and that is a plot point, and they're throwing like red herrings at you,
and we all find out as an audience at the same time who the killer is, and it's at a really cool moment. That is, I love that, the foresight, and I thought it was well executed.
Before I want to make a major spoiler announcement before we talk about like who the killer is and all that, because we should get into that. But Jake, how did you think it, like, I don't know, how did you think it compared to other modern horror?
Yeah, well, I mean, it feels a little more, like you just said, it feels a little more like Scream and some of that earlier slasher stuff, and it like feels a little bit more like old, like Terror Train or like Black Christmas, or some of these like, through the 70s and 80s, there were a ton of these slasher movies that were like, this one's on a train, or this one's at a summer camp, but isn't, Jason, or this one is this. And there's so many of them, and there's all these tropes that they use. And this movie does the same kind of thing. And it felt like it was, of that time and not really of this time.
Right.
And I like that. I like it's just fun to see a movie like that doesn't, like I like movies like Talk to Me and stuff. Like those movies are all great, but everything is so serious now, and everything takes itself so seriously that it's nice to see something that doesn't take itself seriously, but is still well made, and is still looks good, is actually funny, actually has some like, gross out stuff. Like there were a lot of exciting moments in the movie, and none of it felt like dumb to a,
it's,
know what I mean? Like, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was just gonna say it's senseless fun, but it's like really well done fun, and I think it's great for the YHS audience. Like it is like just
It made it for us.
Yeah, it's like a delight to take your brain off of all the serious movies, which is what you're saying, Jacob. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, well, it's modern horror, elevated horror, A24, like everything is really well made and very serious. Sometimes there's not a lot of levity in those types of movies. And also there's a lot of like socio-political messaging in those movies. And when this movie starts with Black Friday and like the hyper consumerism of Black Friday, I was like, oh, is this going to be like, are they going to kind of hammer us over the head with like capitalism is bad, which, yeah, that's part of it, but it's more there to just set up the plot.
Yeah, to build tension and show the dark side of like the duality of man and like how that can come out.
But the fact that the whole movie takes place in Plymouth, Massachusetts, and they're giving out all the John Carver masks, and there's a lot of really good Thanksgiving like puns. Like I actually thought it was like well written and very, very funny,
extremely entertaining.
And we keep saying the word polished, but that's what I keep coming back to. And refreshing, I would say. I really enjoyed it. So Patrick Dempsey is the lead in this movie. He's kind of having a moment.
Well, he's kind of the lead, right?
Well,
I would say Jess is the lead.
Well, he's the let me say it. He's the known actor.
Sure. I didn't know who he was. I was like, who is this? I didn't know he was like a
right. We were just talking about he was voted People Magazine. Well, I don't know, voted. I don't think there's a vote, but People Magazine named him Sexiest Man of the Year.
Yeah.
So he's out there. We're back.
He's having a good month.
He's having a moment.
Yeah.
But really, I didn't know the rest of the cast at all. So there's her name's Jess, right? The lead. She is like kind of an unknown. Addison Rae as Gabby. She's like a social media person. And then it's literally like all unknowns, but I don't know. I thought everybody in the movie was good. And that's saying something, because when you have an ensemble, like to me, I want to get better about not putting other things down to make a point of why this is good, but I'm just going to do it anyway. Think about, I say I'm going to make a point to not do something and then just fucking do it.
And just do it, yeah.
Think about how much better this cast of young people in high school age or young college age was versus like the last two Scream movies.
Yeah.
Like to me, there's more chemistry. What did I say? Did I bring up the Scream word?
I just don't want to think about the Scream movies. But
we're gonna have to.
No, we're not. One of the things that's interesting about the cast is like your main like group of friends. Jess is like the main. She's like the final girl, and you like her.
Right.
But all of her friends are awful. You know what I mean? And they're the main, like they are the main cast of characters that you're following, and they're friends of the heroine basically, but they all suck. And like you don't really like any of them. All the guys are like pieces of shit and they're gross.
Yeah, it's like true slasher film.
Yeah, but it's like you enjoy watching them because you're like, it's honestly, it's a smart thing to do in a movie like this. Instead of making all of your main characters likable, make them annoying so you like are into it when they get killed.
Yeah, it's like we're all here for the same thing. We want to see something disgusting and violent like that happening, and to just like be real about it and like celebrate it and make it something that's extremely fun and joyful, that instead of making it like, I don't know, having a deeper message, it's just like, no, I want to see this fucking bitch die. Like I literally just want to see that.
Hey, I'm trying. Okay. Not the ex-boyfriend, not the baseball player, but the new boyfriend.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, khakis. Looks like he just got off at the Gap.
Yeah. He is the most like that is an archetype of good looking, like almost like Skeet Ulrich, like I don't trust this guy.
Yeah. He's a little overbearing, overprotective. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's good fun. Let's I would recommend it. This is a YHS recommends, I think.
Mhm.
Three thumbs up.
Yeah.
Also, watch the trailer it's based on if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, watch the original. We'll go.
There's a couple shocking things in that trailer
Okay.
that didn't make it to the movie.
Can we little spoiler warning for a couple minutes? Did anybody have a particularly favorite kill in this movie?
Kathleen.
Would you?
Kathleen.
The stepmom?
Mm-hmm. The reveal of her on the
Yeah.
table. I thought that was it was so campy and I loved it.
Was she cooked, right?
Once she's cooked and comes out, and like once John Carver is like having everybody do their gratefuls around the table. That was my favorite moment of the whole movie. I'm just this is like me, and it's also just such a funny juxtaposition.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Me too. One of the things, God, why does it keep doing that? That's one of my favorites too, but I don't want to keep comparing it to the I'm going to do what Craig did. I don't want to keep comparing it to the trailer it's based on, but I'm about to do that. In the trailer, he also has like a character cooked like a turkey like that.
Yeah.
But he also cuts her head off and sews her head onto a regular turkey. So it's like a little turkey body with a head on it. And that seems very funny to me. And then he fucks it.
Oh. Well, now I know why I probably didn't see that trailer. It probably was playing anywhere that I was.
That's funny.
Yeah.
And that's just a funny moment. But I think that was probably my favorite. The trampoline's hard to watch, I think. Also done differently in the trailer than it is in the movie, but equally is like ugh.
Oof. Yeah, those are really good. I thought the execution was good. And one thing I want to give another piece of credit to this movie. And Talk to Me did this pretty well. Also, when because Instagram is used as kind of part of the plot in this movie, right? So the killer is making Instagram posts and tagging them in it, and on paper that sounds like, hey, don't do that, but it works. And Instagram is like, it's not a fleeting part of our lives. Like we've all been using it for 10 years.
It works, when your characters are addicted to social media and are affected by it. So that's the main way that they would communicate. It's not like over the phone or something. Right.
So I thought that was and there was a really funny moment when he makes his first post with like one of the kills and he tags everybody. And Abby looked over, she's like, who's liking this post? They have like 200 likes.
Yeah, I was like, he's got like 659 likes. Like but I guess
he's paying for followers.
There's the commentary. There it is.
Yeah,
Mirror to society.
He's paying for followers.
100%.
You're right. Those are bots. Incels.
So let's kind of get into this. Will be the mega spoiler territory because we got to do a little bit talk about the reveal here. The killer. So there's a lot of misdirection and you don't know who it's going to be and you're thinking about it the whole movie. I kind of had a feeling it wasn't when the reveal happened, I was like, that makes sense. But when they tell you why, I was cracking up. It's so funny. So here's your final warning for a couple minutes. Okay.
We're going to say who the killer is and all that shit.
We're going to say who the killer is. So it's revealed that Patrick Dempsey is the killer, the lead police officer, who's one of the first characters you meet in the movie. He's very likable, very charming. And his reason why
single. Is he new in town?
He's not new in town, but you find out
they make a point of saying he's single,
right? But you find out he was having an affair.
He's single because he's doing it because the person he was with was killed at the Black Friday thing.
Right.
Okay.
He was having an affair.
Okay. Got it.
Let me just fucking say it. He was having an affair with the store owner's wife, and she was pregnant.
Okay.
Right? Is that what it was?
Yeah. Yep.
But the way they revealed they showed the ultrasound. I was like, this is so silly. It was like giving you the reason why he was so mad that he got his revenge by taking it out on all these teenagers who got in early. It was so funny. Again, on paper, it sounds silly.
Yeah.
Abby, did you see that coming?
No, I didn't. I thought it was really funny justification and motivation though for the killer. And I loved the setup of them all at the table, and like that's like just nice storytelling to have everybody around at the end and like to slowly be building kill upon kill. I found that to be really great storytelling. I enjoyed it.
It's good. Jacob, what do you think?
Yeah.
Is that a satisfying reveal for you?
Yeah, it was fine, but I knew it was him. I had a feeling that it was one or both of the cops about halfway through, and that feeling never left me. So, and I'm not. If I would have known that Patrick Dempsey, I didn't know that that's who that was. Like, if I heard that name, I would be like, "Oh, I've heard that name before."
Right.
But I wouldn't recognize who that is.
Sure.
If I would have known it was him, I would have known it was like. Then of course he's the killer, right?
Right.
Going into
Seems
a movie
obvious.
with a whole bunch of unknowns, but one guy who's like kind of famous and like he's the cop. Of course he's the killer. Like to me, that just makes sense.
By the time of the reveal, I for sure was up to speed with who he was. Like as he walks out to the parade, and it's like kind of like duh, obviously.
Yeah.
But leading up to it, I wasn't suspecting it.
Well, it's like when you watch these kind of movies, or when I watch these kind of movies where there's a killer, the things that you have to look out for are you have to see what the person is shaped like, first of all. There's not a lot of people in this movie that are shaped like the killer is shaped. And I'm like, both of the cops are, they're both kind of lean. But then you have to start saying, okay, who's never in a scene with the killer? Who's not been in a shot with the killer yet? The cops. They're the only two who aren't ever. They're the two who aren't dead yet. And they're the two who are like, never are they in the same frame as the killer. So it's got to be one of them, right? Mm-hmm. That's kind of where my brain was going. And there was a point where I thought maybe it was both of them and they were like going full scream. And then there was a point towards the parade where I was like, maybe the whole town's in on it and they're all trying to kill the people that did the riot. And it's multiple people, But then, it's revealed it's the one cop. But I was like, I knew it had to be one of those guys.
Dang. I like this. I like this analysis.
Yeah.
I just knew obviously this was right before they do the reveal, but they did the classic horror movie thing where he's hurt on the ground, but you don't see how he got hurt. Right. But it's like,
you think he might be dead, but it's like they don't, it's not confirmed. Yeah. If that ever happens to a character, they're in on it, or they're coming back. Like,
right.
If someone says a character's dead, but you didn't see it happen, they're not dead.
Right. Ooh, I love horror movies.
Yeah, it'd be cool. I think there's room for a sequel or for many more.
I hope they just make up a reason to keep having them,
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, they also don't find his body at the end, and they do a strange focus on one of the firemen. Is the firemen are all walking out, and they're all covered, and it's like, oh,
it's him.
One of the fire.
Like
he's in one of the firemen.
The next one the plot has to be the classic, like Plymouth, Massachusetts has banned Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You can't close the parks on Thanksgiving.
So yeah, go see it. Really fun. Hey, I was looking at Eli Roth's Wikipedia here. I've never seen his first movie was Cabin Fever. I've never seen that movie. Is it great?
It's silly. It's fun. Silly. Yeah, it's got some weird. I haven't seen it in a very long time, but it's it's a very good like out of the gate movie for him. And I like Eli Roth, and I like how excited he is about horror movies, and I've listened to some of his podcasts, and he had a thing on Shudder, and I really liked it. But the movies in between Cabin Fever and this one, I've always been like, oh, they're fine. They haven't been my favorite.
Right, a little hit or
miss.
This
movie is probably my favorite of his movies, but Cabin Fever is good. I remember seeing
Cabin Fever.
Yeah, right.
Who? Yeah. I remember seeing that movie in the theater and just being like, what the fuck is happening? Because like it's got some silly stuff in it. It's pretty good.
I remember having that feeling when we saw Cabin in the Woods in theaters. Like, I'm surprised we even saw that in theaters. Like, what happened in our life where we're like, I remember I was like, oh, Chris Hemsworth, he's like a name, isn't he? And it looks like he wasn't. and then I loved that movie. But yeah, happy for Eli Roth. Happy for Thanksgiving. Good movie. I think we should mention the Scream stuff, since we do talk about Scream a lot on this podcast. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Lots of stuff going down as far as Scream 7 goes. I don't want to get into the socio-political nature of what's happening, but this week, shit hit the fan. They were about to go into production on Scream 7. They fired the lead actress, Melissa Barrera, who was if you remember the last two movies, she is the daughter of Skeet Ulrich's character, Billy Loomis.
Billy Loomis.
I didn't kill anybody. He's great. She's fired. Jenna Ortega not coming back. There's mixed messaging on whether or not Jenna Ortega was already not coming back and they decided to just clean house. Now there's rumors that they're going to rewrite the script. Nev Campbell's going to be back. Patrick Dempsey is going to be back. You know, he
is having a moment.
He's having a moment. They saw Thanksgiving. They were like, fire the entire cast of Scream. Get us next season. What if he's the killer in the next Scream?
He might.
The odds are he is, because he just succeeded in Thanksgiving.
Yeah, he just won Thanksgiving. Jake, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on this stuff?
No, not really. I don't. Like, it sucks, you know, for that kind of stuff to happen. And
right.
And I mean, like you just said, the first Scream it's one of the best movies. It's like one of the best horror movies of all time. I love it. I think it's a perfect movie, but I just think each one has gotten worse and worse since then, and we're at 6 of them. They're just not. I've really not enjoyed the last 4 Scream movies, and so part of me is like, maybe it needs a shakeup. You know, maybe it needs something to happen to make it better. I don't want to see it fail.
No, right.
But I don't like really care about what's like. I just don't care.
When you start with the highest standard, it's all going to be depreciating.
Yeah,
you know?
It's tough. Well, we'll keep an eye on it.
I'll keep an eye on it. I'm gonna go see it no matter what.
Sure.
I'll go watch it, and I'll hope. You know, I got
Scream's number.
I got really excited for not the last Scream, but 5.
S5.
I was really excited, and I was like, oh, you know what? I think I'm into this, and I think I want to, like, I went and I rewatched 1 through 4, like right before 5 came out. I wore a fucking Scream mask to the theater, and then I was like, and then I hated it. I was like, this movie sucks. You know, I was like, this sucks.
So after the Melissa Barrera firing that Jenna Ortega's leaving, one of the Scream sites on Twitter yesterday said, new report just breaking out. Ghostface has been fired from Scream 7. Yeah, I don't know. Movie business is fucking wild, but we'll see.
Also, silly. We will always have the moment where we were with the guy who voices Ghostface.
Yeah,
where we met him at a con and we had to go into a small closet with him to record a bumper, and that's what we'll always have.
Hey, he did a great job. I love that. I put it in the front of our October episode.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
So Thanksgiving, go see it. Hey, this is a little off topic. There's no way to segue this in, but I wanted to plug James A. Caster, who is obviously going to be in the new Ghostbusters Frozen Empire movie. Very funny comedian. His podcast, Off Menu, which we've listened to a couple episodes. It's a food podcast. He had Paul Rudd on they do like blocks of episodes. So this is like series 10, and this was their finale. It's very funny. It's really great. I recommend everybody go listen to it. Him and his co-host are very funny. Paul Rudd is just the best. But I thought what was funny was the first question James A. Caster asked him was about Endgame. And he asked him why. He goes, okay, I'm not going to do his accent, but I shouldn't do that. But James A. Caster asked Paul Rudd in Endgame, in the final battle, when Scott Lang goes to hotwire the van, and then the next cutaway, you see Giant Man fighting everybody.
Yeah.
Why? How did that happen? And Paul Rudd's like, it's a fuck up. I don't know. He's like, that's your first question? I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
So Are we going on that show? Are we lined up for that?
That's a fuck up, nothing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a fuck up. I would, I don't think they got some pretty high profile
I'm sure they
guests.
appreciate our plug.
Yeah. Now they're going to get some downloads. It was
Finally.
good though.
Yeah.
And if you're not familiar with the show, what they do is they bring in a guest and ask them to design their dream menu, their dream meal. So they'll say, okay, what are you starting with? What is your dream appetizer? What is your iconic starter?
Mhm.
Or when Dan Aykroyd was on the show, he just talked for 45 minutes straight.
Mhm.
It's epic. Go listen to it.
Yeah. That Dan Aykroyd episode's the only one I've heard, but it was impressive.
Yeah.
Yep.
Spoiler alert, Paul Rudd's dream starter is a very basic Caesar salad. And they were like, only one other guest ever has picked Caesar salad as their starter. And guess who it was?
Who
Dan
was it?
Dan
It was
Aykroyd.
Dan.
Oh, wow.
And Paul goes, oh, all right, well, I'll have something to talk about him with him at work tomorrow.
That's amazing. Was it like a Caesar where they build it at the table for you, or
They did get into there were
you know
what? You guys go listen.
All
I'm
right,
not going to
okay.
recount the entire episode.
All
Paul
right.
Rudd hates ketchup and mustard. Just spoiler alert. But I get it. All right, guys. So other housekeeping notes. So, it's getting near the end of the year. We've had a big year. We've had a lot of fun. And there's stuff that is coming up sooner rather than later, finally, that we're really excited about, having to do with Ghostbusters and stuff we have been prepping for what is now Frozen Empire. And I'll just say stay tuned to YHS social media for updates.
Yeah.
We've got some really cool stuff planned.
We've been cooking.
We've been cooking our dream meal. Starter, Ghostbusters. Appetizer, Ghostbusters 2. Amuse bouche.
Will it be enough to share?
Hey, what is a amuse bouche?
It's like a little plate that has a couple different offerings on it to start at the meal that's like not ordered, but it's with like a prefix menu.
So we got some of that.
You got some of those. And it's also supposed to be something that like is playful and fun for the eyes to take in as much as it is to taste.
Yeah, and it's fucked up. I was going to ask you guys what you're most thankful for this year, but I don't know if any of us can really talk about it. So we'll just keep moving on. I'm sick of not having it. I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
But it's going to be good. Okay. So Jake, you mentioned earlier Halloween Horror Nights. We all went.
Yeah.
We went closer to Halloween, almost the end of October. And we had done an episode where we talked about all the houses and what we were anticipating. And now we didn't want to leave you guys hanging. We wanted to make sure that we made our podcast. What do you call it? When you make a promise and you keep it, what's that called? Being a good person.
Followed through.
Yeah, we're following through. Thank you. We wanted
making good on our promise.
We wanted to rank our houses because we go every year and it's a big part of what we do. And we're going to do that right now.
Yeah, we are. That's why I wore this sweatshirt.
Okay.
Which has the Universal Monsters on it.
Did anybody have trouble remembering any of the houses?
Yeah. Like 8 of them. I ranked mine before today.
Yeah.
And instead of ranking them like on how much fun I had in each house, I basically ranked them on my level of remembering anything about them.
Same, dude.
So the top few are the ones that I did like, I guess, the most because I remember the most about them.
Okay.
But I'm going to be honest with you. A couple of these, I'm like, I don't remember this at all. There's one, my number 10.
Yeah.
I literally don't remember anything about it.
Well,
it's been over a month at this point, and I'm just like, some of them were pretty generic. So
right. Well, here's the good news. I got good news for you guys.
Okay.
I made my ranking like the night after.
I meant to, and I think it's a better idea to do that.
I also remember
it just kept eluding me.
When I remembered this. When I told you guys my ranking, you both said it was stupid and wrong. So I'm excited.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm excited about that, and also congratulations on doing your homework the earliest of all of us.
We should get into it.
All right, well, Jake, we'll just go 10-1, and we'll we'll figure it out.
Worst to best. Okay.
All right. So Jake, you go first. What was
so my number 10, one that I don't remember anything about it, is Blood Moon. The name Blood Moon sounds like it would be werewolves. I do not remember a werewolf house. Okay. I don't remember what was in this house at all. If anybody can jog my memory, but it's my number 10 because I don't fucking even remember what it was.
Heard that, Blood Moon.
So I have the Horror Nights wiki here.
Okay.
It has a very long description. These descriptions of each house are longer than the time it takes to walk through the house. But I believe Blood Moon was witches. Was it not?
It was a cult-like thing. There was corn, there was blood, and there was a cult.
I remember some corn.
Yeah, I have this a little lower on my list, not to spoil
It was a
anything.
cult in a colonial era village. Okay.
Like it's possible if I would have made this list right after, it would be higher because that sounds cool. Mm-hmm. I have a bad memory, and some of these are just gelling together.
You know what though? Totally. I think, but
I remember it was one of the last houses we went to, which probably is why I have an increased memory of it, and I enjoyed it most because I was like chilled out.
I think Blood Moon was the reason it's higher on. I have it. Blood Moon is number 4 because I believe Blood Moon was the one where at the end you walk through a church.
Yeah, it's at 6 for me.
And there's pews, and I liked that because I've never been to church. Thought it was pretty cool.
All right,
it's pretty scary.
Well, what's y'all's number 10?
Abby, what do you got number 10 here?
Coming in at number 10, Dr. Oddfellow's Twisted Origins.
Ah, yes. That is also my number 10.
Yeah,
which is like a circus kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I was set up for failure with this because I had just listened to Revival by Stephen King and Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury. So I was like ready to see people like come to life from the sound of music and electricity and like all this shit. And like to see the traveling like tent show revival thing. None of that was in this. This was a rehash of some other houses.
Stop writing Horror Nights fan fiction.
Yeah, well, I mean, that would be really fucking cool if they were to do Revival as a house. I mean, that would be incredible, or as a movie or a TV series or something. But I was not going to get the dark carnival that I wanted. What I got was a mishmash rehash of some other clown stuff, and that's kind of what I
now. I believe Dr. Oddfellow has he's like a recurring character at Horror Nights. He was like the mascot. Of it all.
He was kind of the mascot this year, I think.
Okay, my number 10 this year was Oddfellow. My number 9, Exorcist.
Me too, samesies.
You didn't look at my list?
No, dude. This is my list. Oh, don't look at it.
More specifically, Exorcist Believer.
Or the Believer. I have Exorcist way higher.
Okay.
Even though I hated that movie, I have the house way higher. My number 9 was Oddfellow. So
so we're all about
we can skip and see what Abby's number 8 is.
Yeah, and Jake, when you get to Exorcist, we'll talk about it a little bit more. All right, go Abby.
Naturally doing it, I like it. Okay, so I said number 9 was the Exorcist Believer house. Number 8 for me is The Darkest Deal. This was one that was like playing songs, like making a deal with the devil down to Georgia, like. Selling your soul for music. And I just felt like maybe the beginning of the house was a little bit focused, but it just kind of like spiraled out by the time he got to the end. It wasn't really a cohesive story. So for that reason, I'm giving it number 8.
To me, I'm like, just how much could it be to license out the plot of Devil Went Down to Georgia? Just do that.
Just have a fucking dueling fiddle contest.
Charlie
doesn't have to be Charlie Daniels' song. Could be something else.
Who's next?
Well, that was Abby's. Abby, that was your number 8. That was my 8.
Yes.
Craig, have you done your number 8?
No. My number 8.
Yeah, do your 8, and then I'll do
my number 8 was the Yeti. And I specifically the Yeti house from 3 years ago or 4 years ago was one of my favorites, and I thought this one just didn't live up to it, so it was down on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So Jacob, what do you got?
My number 8 is Dueling Dragons.
Okay.
I just thought it was dumb. I just thought it was like to me it was the most generic looking. Like it literally looked like Game of Thrones masks, versus devil masks, and it just was not. I went into that one thinking it was going to be fun because I thought it was a cool throwback to the old ride, the Dueling Dragons, and it was, to me, just the stupidest thing.
I love the idea of writing lore for a roller coaster.
Yeah, me too.
Some things don't fucking need lore.
Yeah, it did not. To me, it didn't work. So yeah, that's my number 8.
Like we know how the roller coaster was built.
I liked how
it did not involve 2 dragons.
You did have to make a choice halfway through, which
way to go. Yeah,
do you like the choice?
So you get to make a choice. So that's fun. Okay.
Did you say your number 8, Craig?
Yeah, mine was Yeti. So
then I'll go 7.
Yep.
Which is to echo what Jacob just said, Dueling Dragons. It felt like some leftover Ice King or whatever the villain from Game of Thrones was.
Yeah.
That dude. The Ice King's from Adventure Time. Anyway, it was not good. And like I just said, not everything needs that kind of lore and history. And it just didn't seem to match up for me. And there was no duel that like actually
duel.
There isn't any dueling action.
It's hard when you're talking about dragons because they're very big. And it was just like a guy in a dragon mask. Although my Dueling Dragons is much higher on my list. I remember it was one of the reasons you guys yelled at me.
Middle.
Okay, so
that was my 7.
My number 7, 10, 9 is the Universal Monsters Unmasked. I don't really remember much about it other than I think that here's what I'll say. When you have the Universal Monsters property, I feel like there's so much you could do with it because you're talking about the most iconic characters in horror movie history: Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, the Mummy, etc. And they always like overthink it, and it doesn't feel like Universal Monsters. It feels like something else.
Yeah.
To me, I'm like, I want this.
It was also like D tier Universal Monsters.
Yeah,
no
like,
Dracula, no Wolfman.
It was like the Hunchback, the Phantom of the Opera, and I think the Mummy or the Invisible Man or something. It's like, all right,
right. It's like you want Luke and Darth Vader and Princess Leia and Han Solo, but they gave us fucking Poe Dameron. They gave us a Poe Dameron haunted horror house. Okay, cool. So
I've got that one. It's coming up soon.
All right, so you're down to number 6. Ab, go.
Yep. Number 6, I've already mentioned that I had this one at a lower ranking than Jacob did. Blood Moon, Dark Offering. That one had really good jump scares and anything with an occultic type feeling and like anything with that cornfield, like autumnal vibe to it. I kind of just like, and so I enjoyed that one. It was also one of our last houses of the night. So I was just like kind of like relaxed and chilled out at that point, which I've mentioned. So it was like, I really enjoyed this.
I guess we should say this because we haven't said this yet. We maybe should have started with this. Horror Nights is amazing. All of these houses are very fun, actually.
Yeah.
Like we're being like hypercritical.
We're being critical. They're all fun.
This was my favorite Horror Nights ever. We got great food. It was awesome. Yeah. Fuck yeah. I ate something. I remember eating something. It was really good. Pizza, surfer board pizza. Okay. Jacob, what's your next one?
My number 7 is the Devil Went Down to Georgia one.
Okay.
Darkest
Day.
And it's pretty much what you guys say. I'll go ahead and do my 6 because we just talked about it. Number 6 is the Universal Monsters.
Okay.
All the same reasons. It's like, whatever.
My number 6 was Darkest Deal. So we're getting into the top 5.
We're all pretty close on most.
Pretty close.
So we're cracking it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what? So Abby's number 5.
Number 5. Yeah, sure. And this is going to be on the territory that we just tread. Universal Monsters Unmasked. Just the distinct lack of like the recognizable characters, Dracula, Wolfman, etc. Right.
All right, here we go. So we're getting into the top 5. My number 5 was Stranger Things. It's top 5. It was good. I had fun. Season 4 of Stranger Things is really great. The Vecna stuff is great. The mansion and then what's the guy's name that's playing the guitar all the time? That guy.
Eddie. You mean like every dude at Dragon Con?
Yeah, what are all those guys at Dragon Con dressed like with the shirt?
Yeah.
I thought the Stranger Things house was pretty good. To me, we've said this a million times, Jake, but like you want, no matter what, you want the IPs. You want the real properties, the real movies. The original stuff can be really fun. What are you doing?
This is just put your
my
leg
foot's
down.
on the
You
thing.
keep shaking the entire table. That was a role reversal, folks. Enjoy that.
Look at that. So yeah, Stranger Things was my number 5. Jake, go for it.
My number 5 was The Exorcist, and even though, you know, we talked about the movie, we all know what we think about the movie, but it still had things that I recognized, and it made me think of The Exorcist. You know, it's a lot of imagery of The Exorcist, so I had a little more fun in that one than the previous.
Here's what I'll say.
4.
Any Horror Nights house that is like, when you're in like a house, when it looks like the house from a movie, it's always cool. To me, that's always better, because it's like you're like in a big sound stage, and sometimes you kind of lose like when you're in a house with a ceiling, and I don't know, it's just cool.
Yeah.
So all right. So
it's literally in the name, haunted house, to have a little house.
It should be a house.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be a haunted
hotel
train station. Yeah. No, I do.
Haunted hotel's cool.
Want a haunted.
Just kidding. Give me everything haunted. Yeah.
Okay. Abigail.
Number 4.
Yeah.
All right. I've got the Yeti at number 4. Again, it's like Scream. The original was so good that all the sequels can't quite recapture it, and I just felt like there was some like steam missing from it. And I just loved it that year that we went, probably 5 years ago or something.
2019, yeah.
2019 with Ryan Dole. I thought that was
and AJ.
Standout. And AJ. Shout out to AJ.
And Hal.
And Hal, always. Hal was just up here. We got dinner for Hal. It was great.
Got dinner for Hal. A new Broadway play from YHS.
Dinner for Hal? Check, please. So yeah, that's it. Number 4, Yeti.
Cool. Number 4, Yeti. My number 4 was Blood Moon. We talked about it already. I love walking through those church pews. Thought it was cool. It doesn't take much to impress me.
Awesome.
Literally, I'm describing seats. Look at those seats. These people just sit down. It's pretty cool. All right, Jake, why don't you start us off with your number 3?
Well, I'll do my number 4 first.
Okay,
my number 4 is Stranger Things, and I was kind of bummed out that they were doing a Stranger Things house, because I feel like they've done, it's like maybe the 3rd year in a row, or maybe they might have skipped a year, but this is the 3rd Stranger Things house I've been in, and I'm bored of it. I think there's plenty of other things to do instead of doing the same IP over and over. But that being said, it was one of like 2 of the houses in particular were so like, it just felt like they spent so much more work on them and put more into them. They felt longer, and Stranger Things was one of those. It was really well done. So that's my number 4.
Cool. Yeah, you can tell when the house is like because some of them you go through really quickly, and then some, like a couple that we're going to talk about, like it's like it's more of a longer experience. And obviously, when you have the express pass, by the way, I cannot imagine, we're spoiled. People are shooting fireworks outside. Happy Thanksgiving, I guess. When you get that express pass and you don't have to wait more than 10 minutes for any of these, like I almost feel bad for the people who are like waiting 2.5 hours to go through like the Stranger Things house. It's too much.
We're self-aware enough to know that having a ranking and having to think of bad ones, they're not really bad, which you already talked about.
Like Jacob. You might go and only do 3 houses. You can only rank 3. Mm-hmm. What was your favorite one? Blood Moon. We did that twice, and then Dueling Dragons. Okay, Abigail, number 3.
Number 3, I have The Last of Us. I guess it's more like how much should I like the property is almost how I'm gauging this, because I remember that house and I thought it was fun. And I really like that show. So I put it a little bit lower down at number 3.
I have Last of Us as number 3 as well. I think I think zombies are just they're great for the haunted house type setting, and the clickers and I thought the creature design in there was really good.
Yeah.
Well, to me, it's the other house other than Stranger Things that felt like they spent the most time. It felt like the most creative. It felt like they put the most. Some of these houses are just like turn around the corner and somebody in a shitty mask jumps out at you. But like Stranger Things and Last of Us specifically felt like those were the two they knew they were doing a whole year in advance and had been like working on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like there's like real set design to begin with that it's based off of. So I think the people working on it put a lot of care and love into it and are able to like really get a good vibe.
And it was more based on the game than the show. I mean, they're pretty similar, but I think it felt like some of the stuff. I don't know. I'm the wrong person to ask.
How's that game, Craig?
It's great.
Do you like the game?
It's fucking great. I mean, actually,
I did. You know what? You did play.
I almost beat the first one, and I played like half of the second one, which is monumental.
Can I say why you stopped? Because you're scared of the clickers.
That's not why. Why? Okay, I played the whole game and then stopped because I was like, guys, I've almost beat this game, but I'm too goddamn scared of these clickers. It's over. Get them out of here.
Too intense.
All right, we're down to our top two. Abigail.
All right, number 2 for me has already been mentioned by Jacob. I gave the number 2 spot to Stranger Things. I distinctly liked the Eddie spot, like where there's a bunch of like it's like lightning and like music and all that stuff.
Metallica.
Yeah, Metallica. Sorry, I was being interrupted by my cat, Jean. Happy Thanksgiving. So yeah, I put Stranger Things number 2 because for the same reason it's a property that I care about. Therefore, I'm going to recognize the things that I'm surrounded by and I'll remember it more. And it was memorable and just well designed. Yeah, they put some time into it.
There you go. We already talked about my number 2. Maybe thinking about it a little bit further, this wouldn't be my number 2, but I'll just go with my list. Dueling Dragons.
Oh my fucking god! You're such a dad.
I'm such a dad.
I like Leonardo and Dueling Dragons.
Okay. Well, listen. All right. We already talked about it. It was fun. I thought it was fun. You know what? Here's what it is. This is what I'll say. Did all the costumes look like kind of ripoffs of like Game of Thrones? Yes. But I didn't realize it until you guys pointed it out. So when I first went through it, I was like, "Oh, this is cool!" Like these guys are
OGIP here.
Got these like ice creatures and like they're battling. That's really neat. And then you guys, it was like Game of Thrones. I was like, "Oh, it kind of was."
Dragons.
I didn't know. I just didn't know.
There's also like, were there any dragons in Dueling Dragons?
I don't know.
No, it was mostly like. I'm trying to remember.
Sure, I think there was I think in the last room there's like a big dragon.
Mm-hmm. There might have been some like warrior,
I don't
remember.
Gladiator type stuff going on.
Okay, a couple funny things. I'm on the Dueling Dragons Wikipedia right now for the house, and the picture they have, it's got the front sign, and it just says 5-minute wait, which is hilarious. And this was
do this one
all night long. 5-minute wait.
It says Dueling Dragons, choose thy fate. One of the 10 haunted houses. 2 warlocks of great power were turned into dragons after trying to take Merlin's spell book. Now you and your friends are caught in their epic battle. You must
That's too much story. That's too much story for one house.
Do you guys remember
I don't remember Merlin at all.
Dueling Dragons needs to decide what the actual plot is here for
Merlin.
House.
You guys missed the pre-show where Merlin's like, oh, where's that goddamn spell book? I know I left it over here somewhere. All right, number 1 house. I think we all have the same one, which is great.
I haven't done my number 2 yet.
All in alignment, but Jake has to do his number. Why do I get so confused? I'm like,
it's okay.
It's because we're counting backwards.
Go ahead, Jacob.
Jacob, number 2.
My number 2, you guys have both already talked about, and it was Yeti. And I agree that it wasn't the greatest house, and that the first Yeti was better, but it was still like most of these houses are just people in costumes, human-sized people in humanoid costumes. But at least in Yeti, you have like bigger creatures happening. You know what I mean? It's like the setting's a little different. The scares are a little different. It wasn't the best, but to me, it was one of the more memorable ones. It stood out. Like, whereas Blood Moon Dueling Dragons and the Blues one, all kind of like they all merge into the same house for me.
Right.
Yeti stands out a little bit, so I put Yeti in number 2.
Was the Yeti house when we were in line and we got to see the shift change?
Yes.
I don't
The
remember.
bear? Wasn't there a big bear that went in?
We saw
That would
all of
make
them
sense.
coming out and all the new ones going in, and everybody clapped.
Yeah.
It was really
Yeah.
funny.
Shift change. We got a new bear.
Oh, which bear did you get? Oh, we got the one that was like 6'6". So, oh, dude, we got the 6'4" bear.
Yeah, a lot of competition to be the bear.
Oh, that was so funny.
It was.
All right, let's
Number
do,
one, we all got the same thing.
Since we do, instead of saying it, why don't we rap it?
That sounds like you're going to. Just go.
No, we all know it's not a real rap. It's not going to be embarrassing. We know the song. CHUCK. Why don't you come out and wait in the line for this haunted house?
Whoa.
Chucky, he's back.
Chucky. Hey,
Charles
listen.
Lee Ray.
Not the best house, but the funnest house.
I had the most fun in that house.
It's like a bunch of animatronic Chuckies cursing at you. The line was really fun, with like Chucky on the TV yelling at you and being annoyed that USA or whatever won't let him say fuck.
Yeah.
There was the giant Chucky, and I don't know, like it wasn't scary at all, but it was just like, it's a Chucky house. How could this not be the best thing ever?
To me, what makes the house so good is the same reason the Ghostbusters house was so good and why the Killer Clowns house was so good. The color scheme, the iconography is so... a lot of the other houses, the reason they run together, because it's a lot of the same. It's dark, there's smoke, there's fog and blood. But this is like bright yellow.
Brand recognition everywhere.
Yeah. Chucky. There's a giant Chucky in there.
Chucky dolls all over the place.
Chucky everywhere. It made me really want... similar to the Guardians of the Galaxy, the adventure at Epcot, whatever the name of that ride is.
Yeah.
It made me want to have a roller coaster that was Child's Play themed and have Chucky be like your little, be the voice of like riding around and like have it kind of look like the roller coaster, the dark roller coaster from Chucky 3, the one.
Abby, I want it to be like the ET ride where you're on a bike and he's sitting in the front. There's like little animatronic Chucky sitting in the front.
Yeah.
And you're on a journey with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I think we're on to something here. Like, you think the whole thing is like
weird fucking doll, man.
You're going through a tour of the toy factory and Chucky's your guide. Oh, this is good.
Yeah, he like drops you in a vat of plastic.
And no matter what, like, it's the same thing with ET. They ask for your name, but he still just calls you Andy. He calls everybody Andy.
Tells you to fuck off. Fuck you, Andy.
Hope you didn't have to wait too long for the ride. I promise you, it ain't gonna last much longer. Just stabbing you. Fuck yeah. So we invented a new ride. Hey, the Chucky house was awesome. They've done a Chucky.
Yeah, Chucky house ruled.
They did
as the #1 Child's Play podcast.
What are they called? The Skill Zone?
Scare Zone.
Skill Zone.
That sounds like a work thing. I don't like that.
We don't have to talk about the scare zones, but the one that was cool this year was the Woodstock, like the hippie vampires. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, they were all over the place. Yeah, I think Horror Nights is better when there's more IPs. The last couple of years, none of the scare zones have been IPs.
Right.
Usually the IP scare zones are really fun and really cool. And they haven't been doing that. But I think part of it has been budget, COVID reasons and stuff like that. I'm hoping next year the scare zones kind of
it's missing that element. I guess I'm always hearkening back to the Chucky scare zone, the Child's Play scare zone, where he was like roasting everybody from a little puppetry stage.
Yeah, I mean the Killer Clowns scare zone and the Trick or Treat scare zone were just amazing.
Phenomenal. Yeah, it gets me excited. I mean, once we get through, like, Horror Nights is a fun, like, we went to Disney the day before. Horror Nights, you get there at 6, you're there till 2 in. By the end of it, you are just beat. Because it's a lot, because not only we did 10 rides, or I'm sorry, 10 houses.
And houses.
And then we also did the Gringotts ride and hung out at Hogwarts. We also did the Mummy ride.
Yeah.
We also played carnival games. That is a lot to pack into one evening.
Yeah.
Yep. So overall it was great. As we get closer to next year, maybe what we'll do is, because there's usually leaks and rumors in the spring, and we kind of have to look at like what movies are coming out next year, what horror movies are coming out. We can maybe start predicting what we would want. for houses next year.
Thanksgiving scare zone.
I mean, it could happen. They could do a Thanksgiving house. It would be really fun.
Yeah, it'd be great.
It'd be great. But I'm not really sure what horror movie releases are coming out in 2024. So we'll have to kind of take a look. We'll do take some predictions. Oh, you know what? When did they do that Beetlejuice house? 2 years ago?
Yeah, I think so. Well, it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be during COVID, and then
because he had a mask on.
They kind of canceled Horror Nights, so then they moved it to the next year.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm just kind of looking at horror movies for next year. Salem's Lot, supposedly. Eventually,
that's never coming out.
I wish they do a Rise of the Evil Dead.
Maxine next year. That would be cool if they did like an.
Have they done an A24 house before?
No, I don't know.
If they're probably not gonna.
A24 is a word.
No, Universal
elevated. But I'm assuming there'll be a Five Nights at Freddy's house though.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, you can assume that. Maybe a Goosebumps house or something.
Right. Okay. Hey everybody, this was fun. Abigail, do you have anything else?
Yeah, this was really fun. But we have to go and eat some Thanksgiving dinner. I hope everyone out there is having a good night and enjoying this podcast. I know it makes me happy to sit down and do this on a holiday because I love you guys, and it's nice just to chat and to do the thing that we do in kind of a nice chill space. So I hope everyone out there is experiencing the same chill.
Well, we love movies and we love doing the stuff that we do. It's exciting and fun to be able to share it with you guys. Shout out, by the way, to who was it? Was it Hal this week who pointed out that, Jake, I don't know if you knew this, if you saw it in our group chat, but that the original Ghostbusters 2 children's storybook was written by R.L. Stine.
I think it was AJ, but yeah. I saw that. That's pretty
was
crazy.
Under
I never
his,
noticed that.
Cool.
It was one of his alternate names, or it's not his real name, but his other nom de plumes. Yeah. Something else Stein, but I looked it up and it's
I think it was just was it not just
was it Gertrude?
What the R and L, or it was just not
Ralph Lauren Stein.
Yeah, it was just whatever, you know.
So his name's Robert Lawrence Stein, but it's credited as Jovial Bob Stein, which is another one of his names.
That's a red flag alarm for a fake name.
Jovial Bob?
Jovial Bob.
Yeah.
Doesn't he make cars?
It's a good.
Doesn't he rip people off? Doesn't he make bad
Jovial.
Hi, I'm Jovial. I'm Jovial Bob. He's got a series of books called what's an alternate name, like a synonym for Goosebumps? I can't think of one. All right, good talk. Jacob, anything else?
No, that's it. You know, go watch Thanksgiving.
Jovial's Chicken
Halloween
Skin.
Horror Nights. Chicken Skin. Ugh, that just sounds gross. Yeah, no, had fun weekend last weekend. Fun time at Horror Nights and fun time at the movies. So
yeah. I looked up synonyms for Goosebumps. So there's cold shivers, cold creeps, heebie-jeebies.
I like cold creeps.
Goose flesh.
I've never heard anybody say I got the cold creeps.
Ooh, that gave me the cold creeps.
That sounds like a good treat you can get at Horror Nights.
Thanks, Jovial Bob, for all the cold creeps books.
Jovial Bob will be back next week.
Jovial Bob is Silent Bob's cousin.
Yeah.
Yo, Silent Bob. Jovial Bob's here. He's here writing books. So listen, here's what's on the docket for the rest of the year. Obviously, tune in to Tuesday night, 9:30 p.m. event for us. Toy Anxiety. Weird sentence, but we're just going to keep going on. Toy Anxiety every Tuesday at 9:30 is what I meant to say. Live on the Toy Anxiety YouTube channel. More Ghostbusters Frozen Empire countdown content from us, including Ghostbusters Radio Live. Once the movie starts coming out. Once the movie's out.
Well, they release it in little pieces. You get like 20 minutes, and the next month
they're
you
NFTs.
get another 20 minutes.
You get little NFTs. We're going to hope to have some interviews. We have a whole list of people that I want to hopefully get on the podcast to interview and talk to about Frozen Empire. Super excited about that. And stay tuned for more from YHS. Abigail, we plug the Patreon real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. For just $5 a month, you can help support us and partake in our like extra, like the cream of the crop, the good stuff at the top that rises, which is our Patreon content.
Okay, why are you just doing a Macho Man thing right now?
Yeah.
Is that a Macho Man thing? I would have no idea.
Cream of the crop, and then the cream.
You want to know why?
You're just word for word saying a Macho
Jacob,
Man thing.
Reason is I've got corn on the brain because there's a fucking musical called Crunch or
Shuck.
Called Shuck. And listen, Jacob, the music is fucking good. It's about corn, and it's about the corn kid, I think.
Well, phenomenon. We talked about it when we were in New York.
We saw the posters in New York.
Okay, so the point of my story is that there was a small segment where they performed today on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. So corn is on the brain.
Gotcha. All right.
So that's what I was talking about. The cream of the crop.
I looked at Abby's phone earlier. She was on Cornhub.
I was on Cornhub, dude.
With a K though.
Yeah.
It's a new metal news music site.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I run that. I'm a moderator on that site.
On Cornhub, yeah.
Guys, you run a new metal YouTube channel. Hey guys, welcome to the show. Before we get started, click that subscribe button, hit those bell notifications. Major news from Jonathan Davis coming up. Will he be putting the kilt away for good? Stay tuned for more. Okay.
Cool.
Patreon.com/YesHaveSome, all the bonus content and the Discord. And I even posted something in the old exclusive Patreon Instagram today, a video I never posted from a time we went to London, England.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Jake and I went to Paddington Station. We had a nice time.
Yeah,
you'll never know what you're gonna get.
You never know what's gonna happen when I've never seen a Paddington movie, but I've met his statue.
Either, yeah.
So, all right, everybody.
Flock.
It's flocked,
he's
folks.
Flocking great. For Jacob Walsh, Abigail Gardner, and myself, thank you so much for being part of the YHS universe. I'll tell you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more from the podcast. Until next time, have a happy, healthy Thanksgiving, and may all your dreams come true.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Buy as many toys as you like.
Yes.
It's your Thanksgiving. Stay tough, Marshmallow fans.
What was that?
Marshmallow fans.
Bye.